And welcome back to Clutch Time. Today we are talking about Oregon as we continue to do our team previews. And so let's go ahead and let's jump into it. And so I think that really the biggest question around Oregon is there one move that the Ducks can do this season that is going to really return them to possibly a winning situation here? And so let's go ahead and just start with really where they are with the roster right now. And so Oregon came off a tough season last year at 13-20, and so it was definitely a tough season there. But when you look at this roster, I think that that is probably the first question mark that I have with this team, because they have five guards, they have six forwards, and they only have one center on the roster. And so we're going to look at just what it looks like as far as the height breakdown here. But this is a team that, to me, initially, when you look at them, they seem a bit off balance here. And so I think that when you look at the first key things to this season that could possibly turn it around, I think it really starts with their freshmen. And I think that the first freshman that you have to think about with Oregon is going to be Darius Harper. And so I think that Darius Harper really could come into a big time role here with Oregon at 6'7", 233. And so the thing with him is he is terrific with his off ball movement. And so this is a guy that's going to be able to find the necessary spacing on, offense, just working off ball here. Now, he is a next level, just jump shooter. And so this guy has definitely got a pure jump shot or whatnot. But the issue is going to be he's just not very much of a creator. And then coming in as a freshman, look, that's going to be a tall order here in the Pac-12. And then when you look at just really one of the bigger things that's a flaw with him is this guy has been a liability on defense. And so he comes in and he does provide the offense for you, but man, it is going to be very tough for him, just to be a shot creator and just to be I think a very consistent contributor for you, because for Oregon to turn this thing around, they're going to need to have, a player that can really lock in on both ends of the floor. And so I think that, he's a guy that you definitely want to go ahead and circle as maybe a must-watch player coming in to this season. And so the next player that I think that Oregon certainly could really be depending on here is going to be Leopoldo Cal. And so he's a guy that I think for me initially when I take a look at him, he looks like a guy that is more of like a deep development, or I'd say a project player, because when you look at what he does well, he's extremely quick. All right. And so he's extremely quick. And he's 6'5", 189. They list him as a guard, so I'm not sure where he's at with his wingspan. But, with the quick feet, I mean, that could definitely translate defensively if he knows, exactly what to do as far as the rotations and just where to be with the help. And just we'll see, can he be really just that dog defender for this team? And so that's something that you either want it or you don't. And so I think that immediately maybe translates for him. As far as, where else, he could definitely use that skill set. This team needs a creator. And so can he use that quick feet to go ahead and get past defenders? I mean, maybe he's going to be a guy that distributes the basketball at a high level, which we're going to talk about that with this team here in a moment. But this is something to watch for with Cal. This is a guy that, look, man, he is came from a background of just ice hockey. So, I mean, he's definitely with the physicality, and this guy's a trash talker here. And so let's see if he can maybe give this team a little bit of an identity. But these are the two newcomers that I would say that you want to watch for with Oregon. And so next, I think that when you have to go ahead and start looking at players that could contribute from last season, I think that you have to go ahead and start with a guy like Timothy Brown. And so Timothy Brown, coming in this season, I think that he is actually Oregon's best scorer so far, coming back from a season ago. And so I think that they are definitely going to rely on Timothy Brown a lot here. And so when you look at Timothy Brown and just what he was able to do a season ago, 12.1 points per game, 1.6 with the offensive rebounds. He had a total of 5.8 rebounds altogether. And he shot 60.9% from the field, so not bad. And when you look at how he scores, this is a guy that he's a highlight dunker. This is a guy that loves to get into traffic and use his athleticism. And just, I mean, he is just a rim attacker. He's vicious there. But the issue with Timothy Brown and why he really hasn't taken the step forward forward is he just doesn't have a jump shot. I mean, he's only shooting 14% from downtown, and he's only shooting 63.4% from the free throw line. And so this is one of the bigger issues that Oregon has, which again, we're going to talk about that from a team standpoint. But Timothy Brown, excuse me, he's a guy that is going to be, a big time contributor for this team. And keep in mind, he's only 6'2", and so he's starting the two guard position. And so he's a guy that they're going to depend on. And so the next player returning that Oregon is going to have to certainly depend on here is going to be, it's going to be Lene. Gosh, I can't even say it right now. Lene Newman. And so Lene Newman is the guy that is going to be a contributor here. And so Lene Newman at center, what he does is he provides a bit of power and force inside. And so going back to what I was talking about with this roster, they only have one center, and it is Lene Newman. And so Lene Newman coming in as a junior, he's 6'9", 222. He averaged 8.2 points a game and 7.3 rebounds a game, so not bad there. He did shoot 56.7% from the field, and he led the team in dunks with 63. Now, he is just a terrific leaper. He's a great rim protector. I think that he's going to be excellent with the lobs and things like that. But the issue, I think, with Oregon is they just don't have a guard. In fact, when you look at just a guard that, and I'm talking about a guard that can distribute the basketball at a high level, one of the issues with Oregon now, just looking at them overall as a team, is that they only averaged 13.2 assists per game, which was ranked 62nd in the nation. And so that's just not going to get it done. And I think for you to really utilize guys like Timothy Brown, and then also too, when you look at Lene Newman, they need somebody that is going to be a creator. And I just don't see anybody on this roster right now that is going to be a creator for this team. I mean, let's see, if one of these freshmen are able to emerge, but that is going to be the first issue with them. And the next thing, when you look at just what they did from a scoring standpoint, they really struggled. I mean, this is a team that they just don't score the ball very well. I mean, you're looking at a team that only averaged 65.9 points per game, which was good enough for 49th in the country. And then when you're talking about just the Pac-12 and just all the teams in that conference. And I know that UCLA lost a lot, but still, I think that scoring points is not necessarily going to be an issue. And so for Oregon to be in the mix, they're going to have to find ways to score the basketball. And then when you look at them defensively, this is really the biggest issue with this team. They gave up 68.5 points per game. But when you look at just the flaws for many of their players, defense is an option. And if you want to get it to the next level in any sport, especially when it comes down to having a defense on the other side of this thing, you got to be able to defend. And so defensively, this team is not very good at all. And so they like to depend on the man-to-man principles. And I'm just not sure that they have the type of personnel to go out there and run, a strong man-to-man unit like they want to. I think that this team would probably be best kind of going into some zone principles and things like that because, they don't have too much height out there. Going back to what they have with these forwards and things like that, the tallest player on the team is 6'9". Everybody else, you have them at about 6'7", 6'6", 6'5". And so there's not a whole bunch of height here with Oregon. And so this is something that is definitely going to be a struggle with them, and so you guys let me know in the comments what you're thinking here, because I don't think that there's one thing necessarily that Oregon can do to turn this thing around. And I do think that they are really going to be a team that they're going to depend, I think, heavily, on these freshmen. I think that for them, their best bet is they're really going to have to really rely, I think, on these players that they just don't know a whole bunch about if they're going to turn things around. But again, you guys let me know in the comments, do you think that Oregon is going to have a magical season? Because, you never rule out the possibilities. I mean, because anything can happen here, but I don't see just a whole bunch of good stuff coming here for Oregon this upcoming season in the Pac-12. And so you guys let me know. And as we always say, go SimWorld, and gosh, man, see the game, be the game. I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.